If you're looking for a Blood Mage witch build that destroys cruel difficulty no matter which act you're on, has amazing crowd control and awesome ad clear, and on top of that you want to get some easy boss kills, then this video's for you. And another really cool thing about this build is that, one, we're going to be dealing tons of freeze damage, and on top of that, we're not going to have any mana. So you don't have to ever worry about it. I don't even have the best gear right now, and this build just destroys everything. It really does. It will get you through cruel difficulty without any problems. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be uploading more updated and better versions of this build as we move forward. If you guys do enjoy this video, and only if you do, slap a like, sub to the channel. I got tons of more PoE2 content on the way. And now let's get right into it. We're going to take a look at the skill tree first, and then we're going to take a look at the skills and gear as well. And I'm going to show you the gameplay, of course. Now, one of the most important things here is that we're going to be utilizing Blood Magic. Removes all mana, skill mana costs converted to life costs. Now, the reason this is very good on Blood Mage is because if you're playing this Ascendancy, it says skills gain a base life cost equal to base mana cost. Right? So pretty much whatever you do, it would take out both of these pools, which we really don't need that to happen. And in order to counter that, you can use Blood Magic. Now, everything you do will take from your HP, but this was going to happen anyway. But thanks to Blood Magic, mana is non-existent for us. So that is something that you don't have to think about, and you don't even need those stats on your armor as well. You can get much more valuable things on your items. So you do want to make your way to Blood Magic. This is going to be very important. However, let's take a look at some of the things that we are going to need before we get there, because we are going to be utilizing freeze, which means that we have to pick up some stuff up top as well, and then some on the right side. But what are all of these skills, right? We got to break it down. First of all, we're going to go with the normal notes. You're just going to follow all of these all the way to the raw destruction. Now, I also am using pure energy, 30% increased maximum energy shield and plus 10 to intelligence. This adds a little bit of survivability. Then we're going to take all of these three little notes and pick up critical overload, 15% increased critical hit chance for spells, 15% increased spell damage if you dealt a critical hit recently. And you're going to see that we're going to be trying to do as much critical hits as possible. So, as I said, when it comes to Blood Magic, you're just going to follow all of this all the way until you get to Blood Magic. However, on the way, you are going to pick up critical chance. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that after testing this a lot, we found that critical hit chance, even though it's not critical spell hit chance, still works for your abilities. So whatever abilities you're going to be using, in this case, when we check here, let me take a look here and show you. For example, in this case, it's going to be Comet, right? This gets affected. Currently, we are at around 43% crit rate, right? This does get affected by critical hit chance, even though, once again, it doesn't say spell hit chance, okay? So that is something that you should know. So we're going to pick up all of these. Technically, if we had mana, we would be losing out on it, right? 5% reduced maximum mana, it says, but it does give you the 15% increased critical hit chance, right? So there was kind of a payoff. But since we're not using mana, thanks to Blood Magic, we don't care. This is like free. We have to go for it. Plus 10 to strength and 35% increased critical hit chance. Now let's move back to the left here. We have more critical hit chance right here. Then we have 20% increased critical hit chance if you haven't dealt a critical hit recently. And recently means around 4 seconds. So let's say there's a boss fight or you're just clearing in general. There's always a few seconds where you're not in action. Maybe you're trying to get out of the way of some of the abilities that the boss is spamming. In that case, by the time you're going to go back into combat, you're going to have a 20% increased chance of a critical hit. But not only that, but if you pick up this, that's another 20% chance. Now, the reason we want as much crit chance as possible is that we need blood orbs. Now, that is the intrinsic mechanic of the Blood Mage, right? Like you're getting kills, the blood orbs drop, you're picking them up, you overflow your HP to double. But if we're fighting a boss and there's not many adds around us, that might be a problem, right? That's what critical hit fixes. Because if we're dealing a lot of critical damage to the boss, every time we do, there is a chance that an orb spawns. And because of the nature of the build that we'll be using, there's so many hits towards the boss that there's going to be a bunch of orbs we can pick up, overflow, stay alive, not even use the flask as much, and only kind of keep it for those crazy situations where your HP just drops. So that's why we need critical hit, and obviously because of way better damage as well. Now this is where we start going into more of the freezing aspect of it, and this is very important because not only are you going to be freezing the smaller enemies and the ads while you're clearing the maps, but this is going to be a build up for the bosses as well. So you're going to pick up all of these notes right here to make your freeze build up much better. And on this side, you're going to go for cold exposure, which is pretty much an increase in damage for us, +1 to level of all cold skills. And overall, you need all of these things for better freeze buildup, damage. Then as we move to the right here, there's going to be more crit chance for spells. And then all the way when we go to the right, this is also very important. Meta skills gain 8% increased energy. And now let's take a look at the skills themselves. And this is going to make more sense. Let's start with Cast on Freeze. So you equip this buff and then you need Spirit to activate it. If you take a look at it, it will say 60 Spirit right there. And now all of the gems that you slot in here is what's going to happen when you freeze. That's why it's called Cast on Freeze. So you get the freeze going and whatever is slotted here, those things are going to happen. That's going to be the easiest way I can explain this, I guess. I am going to drop like a more in-depth video about like gems and explaining everything probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for new players. I know that all of this can be confusing, so I'm going to break this down very, very easily for all of you that are just getting into the game. So we're going to pick up the Comet, then Spell Echo, which means that we're going to have way more Comet spawns, which means way more damage. So you have to equip this, in my opinion. This is very strong. Then we have Supported Skills gain 40% increased energy. Now we need this because what happens is as we're hitting the enemies and we're building up this energy meter in order for the Cast on Freeze to happen, the faster we do it, the better. That is precisely why we want this, and that is why we wanted this skill as well. Meta skills gain 8% increased energy. Makes sense, right? And finally, we have Cold Mastery, +1 to level of supported cold skills. If you want, you can try to use something else here and move this to other skills. That's going to be up to you. Never be afraid to experiment a little bit. Then we have Frostbolt. So we're going to combine this with Wild Shards, then Glaciation, and finally Unleash. So what I'm trying to do here is spam as many of these as possible. Looks cool, is fun, and it's effective. And then we have Frost Bomb. Now this is going to be one of your main things here because we're going to use this essentially like a debuff. Not only does it deal cold damage, but it also causes exposure. That is very important because this is going to up your damage by a lot. And we're going to make this better with Magnified Effect, Strip Away, Cold Penetration. All of these things make this much better, so make sure to check them out. Then we have Frost Wall. So the rotation is going to look something like this. You drop the Frost Bomb first, then you drop the Frost Wall. When the enemies get frozen, you're going to be activating Cast on Freeze. So comets are going to be flying in like crazy. They are going to be shattering the walls, and there's going to be massive damage all around from comets shattering. It looks incredible, plays really well, and is very strong. On top of that, guys, in terms of survivability, the Frost Walls are amazing because as you're dropping these walls, like enemies can't really hit you. They can't get to you. They're kind of stuck. Meanwhile, boom, the comet hits them. They're shattered. We're going to be using the Icicle because we want to make the HP of these lower so we can shatter them easier. And then we're going to combine that with Spell Cascade, which is also very good on Frost Wall. Now you will see that this one is free here because I haven't really found a perfect match for this yet. As I'm going to be updating the build, I will let you guys know how this works. But currently, we're going to leave this like this because I really can't find something that I really like. If you guys have any ideas, drop them in the comment section below, okay? Then we have Arctic Armor. This is a very cool ability. And the reason is you have this shield around you. If you get hit by melee targets, this will also summon in comets. Very nice. We're going to combine this with Herbalism. So those are all the things you need to know for this build to work. Now, let's say you don't have like 4 slots here or 3 here. You mainly have 2 slots. Just follow the build the way you can. Get close to it as much as you can. I promise you, it's going to work. You're going to have a great time. Now let's take a look at the gear. I really wish I had plus level to cold skills. Like that would be the coolest thing, but I can't find a weapon like that at the moment. I have maximum mana, which does nothing for me. The cast speed is okay, but then we have another mana skill, which once again, we have 0 mana. So we're not going to be utilizing that at all. As I said, my gear is not even the greatest, but you're still going to be destroying everything on cruel difficulty in Act 3, for example. For the scepter, I'm mainly using this for spirit, obviously, and once again, not the best rolls because we're not utilizing minions at the moment. Hopefully, I get some better rolls very soon. And then let's take a look at some of the other pieces. We have the amulet. This one I do like because it adds a lot of survivability. We have double maximum life, then 10% increased critical damage bonus. You can never go wrong with that. +7 to strength, and 10.6 life regeneration per second. All of these things that involve HP and life for Blood Mage is very, very good. Then we're gonna just hover over the rings. Nothing crazy here, nothing game breaking. And then we have the boots, which is one of my favorites because I do have 20% increased movement speed and I enjoy every second of it. Here's the chest piece and the helmet as well. Act 3 cruel difficulty right now, and I'm just gonna show you guys how this build actually works, right? So you want to open up with frost bomb always, and then drop the walls, the shattering, all the good stuff happens after you get the freeze because the comets are gonna be coming in. Okay, boom, we're just healing up consistently. And imagine now when you get this build ready to go, when you have better gear. As I said, like my gear is definitely not the best. Yeah. The more, the better for us. The more, the better. This is going to be so much fun. That means more orbs for us. We keep getting orbs. I'm going to let him come on in more here. But yeah, it's a really fun setup. Something that I think all of you guys will enjoy a lot, man. And it's very unique because of the blood orbs. Personally, that's what I really enjoy about it. The mechanic is really cool. I think that they will make it better and better with time as well. Yeah, he's getting destroyed now. You always want to use your bomb first. And like usually this is a boss who has a lot of ads around him, but because we're freezing him all the time, he's not even able to do a lot of the stuff that he normally does. We're able to do crit damage. We're standing on him and just rolling into the orbs. Frozen. We just keep picking up the orbs. Careful here, get around him. Frost bomb. Let the shadows keep going. We're picking up the orbs if we take damage. Avoid this one here. Again, there's some orbs behind him here. Gonna go for that one. There's a few of them actually. Yep. Now imagine where we're gonna have more crit. You just roll around, pick up the orbs. Up an orb on him, debuff him. Boom. Just like that. Easy peasy. Easy peasy, man. So, yeah, that's the whole point, right? You keep hitting him with critical hits. The orbs keep dropping. You just pick up the orbs. You're good to go. Like, you're just rolling off of the orbs. You're not even using that flask that much. And with time, as you perfect the build, right, and make it better and better, you get more crit chance, get more HP. You're going to be unstoppable. You're not even going to depend on the flask as much. My weapon is not even that good right now, guys. Please keep in mind, right? Like, there's a bunch of things that we need to improve, and then this build will be ridiculous. So yeah, I'm having a blast, and I think this is one of the most fun games I've played in a long, long time, man.